So I'm Nicole Nelson, and I'm the founder of Start Again Stronger. So branding here is very different, and it was really important that I, meet people where they're at and reflect what I'm doing now and have an opportunity to get an expert who can guide me, who understands how to best, represent that. That was one of the remarkable differences of working with Miranda, was that she did sit down for quite a bit of time, try to reflect back to me as she understood it, what my business was about. And at the time I was struggling a little bit to even put it into words. So it was great to have somebody who was as intuitive too, and has been around the block in terms of working with lots of business owners, to be able to sit down and hear what I was saying, hear the results that I produce, and then be able to share with me ideas about how we can best visually capture that. The photos, when I showed them to clients of mine back in New York, one actually cried. I mean, she was just so touched by, I might actually do it now, by the fact that, again, I had never captured the nervous system work that I do, and I had always just sort of separated the very high corporate work and coaching work I do from the more personal piece, even though that's what makes me different. And here I was in a setting, in a beautiful setting, a gorgeous home, and doing the work that I do best. And again, it was just so perfectly executed. What I was really pleased with, that whole experience, even though this is not the business side of things, was actually really nurturing. It was really nice. It felt like having a bunch of girlfriends getting together and just hanging out and having fun. And, my biggest concern was I don't wear a lot of makeup when I normally am out and about. I understand that for film and, it's necessary to put on more for stage when I used to be on stage, but I was concerned it was going to be a lot and maybe more dramatic a look than I actually was ready for. But she did a great job. I mean, it was just really, as I said, kind of nurturing. I felt really cared for during the experience. We had a lot of fun. We were laughing a lot, catching up on things. And in the end, I mean, people who have seen those photos are telling me that they were just stunning and that they look perfect. So for any of us who are not in an industry where we're in front of the camera all the time, it's awkward. It's just naturally going to be awkward. So what was fun about it was, I think, Miranda helped me understand that this might feel a little bit awkward, but in the end, you're gonna be really happy with the way it looks. And Miranda picked the perfect location. It ended up causing me to pick the brand colors that I have today based on what was, the paint on the walls of the rooms we were in. Miranda and I sat together and did talk about what my use cases were for each of these photos. It is amazing that in one photo shoot, the number of options that you have. And it was good for me to just get some guidance to sort of steer me in a direction to think through, okay, what am I going to do with this? And then, so which ones, they're all beautiful. So how do you pick from amazing things? What it was more for me about what am I going to do with them? I think that's what helped me. So the website was really one of the first things that I ended up using them for. I think the second thing that happened was I was invited to speak for Connect W, which is a local organization, nonprofit, and I didn't have any headshots available to prepare for the flyer that even, let people know about my talk. So that was really great. And then since then, I've been able to get even more creative with it. I ended up creating some flyers for, around town. So there's a little bit of a difference between, the more corporate-y shots that we did and then the shots that, of me doing energy work. And then on the bottom, what was nice is I was able to take actually the same shot that I used for my speaking engagement, I was able to use for a lead magnet for my website. So that ended up going on the front of a PDF that I was doing. So I've actually put them in a lot of different things, including a trifold brochure that goes to medical offices for people who know high stress professionals. So we've got, just sort of the headshot for me that's more corporate. But then on the inside, because this is unique and different in what I do, there's me working with Sarah, the assistant, when we were doing the actual photo shoot. So, and it's just a nice, it's a nice little brochure that I can leave for physicians now in case they have, executives or entrepreneurs who are struggling in their lives and they want some support. So there's been a lot of applications over the past year or so since I've had them, and I didn't have anything to do this with before. So I'm just grateful that I have now this whole library that I can work with and plug and play as I need to. What was amazing about working with Miranda during this photo shoot, which was not, it was sort of an unintended consequence. I never could have guessed that this is what would have come of it, but she really helped me focus. She helped me concentrate on the things that mattered most, that were my true essence, the remarkable difference that I offer the world and clients. And throughout that whole process was incredibly influential in how the brand ended up unveiling itself and almost revealed itself to me thanks to her leadership.